So here's my latest Raspberry Pi project. And what I'm doing here is positioning a Raspberry Custard with a Raspberry Pi. Now, you got your Raspberry Custard right here, and this is similar to the Raspberry Pi that Brother Carl was eating a few days ago when he sent me that video. But this is not a Raspberry Pi. This over here is a Raspberry Pi. But my Raspberry Custard has the same raspberry stuff in it. That is to say, raspberries that Carl's Raspberry Pi had. Now, what I do with this system is I got to get the custard in the right position for eating. If it's too far away, then I can't reach it. If it's too close, then I dribble raspberries down my shirt and make a stain and look like a doofus, and you know, you can't do that. So the way this thing works, you can see in the back there's a green LED blinking, and next to it is a yellow one, then a red one, then a blue one. And what I've done is I've taken my ultrasonic sensor. You remember that HCSR04 ultrasonic sensor that I mentioned previously. Well, here it is again. And what it's doing is it's measuring the distance from the Raspberry Custard that has the same raspberry stuff in it that Carl's Raspberry Pi had, except this is custard, not a pie. Now what I can do with this is I've set up zones, and you'll see when I move the Raspberry Custard with the raspberries in it, the actual raspberries, toward the Raspberry Pi, the computer, you will see that the LED light blinks a different color. You ready? So here we are. If it's further than 20 inches away, then the green light blinks. Now if I move it closer, you can see now that the yellow LED is blinking. Right? You see that yellow one right there? And what the Raspberry Pi is telling me is that it's 14.87 inches away from the sensor. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Raspberry Custard with the actual raspberries in it, like Carl's Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to move it closer. And notice the yellow light is still on, and it's telling me it's 12.39 inches away. For it to turn to the red, it's got to get closer than 10. So I'll move it a little bit closer. And now it's 9.67 inches away, and you can see that the red LED is blinking. Okay? Now, if it gets closer than 6 inches, that's too far. That's too close, and that's how I end up with raspberries, which is to say these raspberries right here on the front of my shirt, kind of like Carl's Raspberry Pi. Okay, now watch, as I get this thing closer, it's 6.04 inches, just over 6 inches, bring it up a little bit. So now you see that the blue light is blinking, and what that blue light is saying, Mark, you got to back off. You're going to end up with Raspberry Pi on your shirt and look like a doofus. Okay? So now if I back it off a little bit, okay, now the red light is blinking, and it's saying it's about 9.1 inches. You know, if I move it up a little bit, 7.64. So that there's a comfortable eating distance, okay, for your Raspberry Custard. Okay, so there you go. We have this is my latest Raspberry Pi project, positioning a Raspberry Custard with actual raspberries in it with a Raspberry Pi computer right here. You see that? Okay, there you go. Raspberry custard with a Raspberry Pi.